Realtors, do you actually understand lending? On this episode of Major Money Matters. Welcome to a special episode of Major Money Matters. I'm happy to have my good friend, fellow mortgage broker, Hunter. This is going to be something that we talk about all the time. There are topics that we talk about all the time. And, we're sitting around like, why don't we just do a video to talk about this stuff? Because there are things we assume people know. And I have kind of learned not to assume anything. Because this is the reality of lending, and a reality that both you and I have lived, being on the retail side and on the broker side. And we're going to lay it out straight. You might like us or not like us after this is done, but you won't be able to say that we lied.
Yes, I would totally agree with you on that. I'm excited about it because I think it breaks down the foundation of mortgage, and I think that one of the biggest claims out there is relationship over transaction. And this one could probably touch those feelings a little bit here, whether it's really a relationship or transaction. So I'm excited.
And if you're a loan officer, you happen to be watching this, and you're happen to be told some things that you don't necessarily know, I encourage you, go ask your branch manager whether the things that we talk about today are absolutely true, because both Hunter and I have been on the retail side of lending. Yep. And for us, it became an ethical conversation of, especially me, Hunter. I did mostly VA loans before I came to the broker side. And it was really an ethical conversation of, if I want to say I'm really serving veterans, am I really serving veterans if I'm charging them fees, or because of my company structure, I have to charge them a bunch of fees that they don't really need to pay? So it's nuts. So I'll be transparent. We are going to call some company names during this meeting because there's stuff we know of factually being true. And you can't really say it's defamation of character, because the biggest defense to defamation is it's the truth. So
what is the truth, Major? What is it?
So let's talk about this first. I was at American Pacific Mortgage. I was at a small company called Align Mortgage. That company is no longer around. I was there for a little over a year until I started to really understand some things about lending. And I decided to become a broker because I really understood the pricing side and the number side of mortgages. Hunter, your background really quickly for the people.
Yeah, retail as well. I was in 2 retail shops before. One, I was at Mr. Cooper for a long time, and that was at another smaller retail shop. But I also managed change of law from legality for state and federal standpoints for Mr. Cooper originations, all that side of it. So got to see a lot in the post-closing and originating side. So I've got both experiences here, and I saw a lot of data. Let me tell you that.
Perfect. And both Hunter and I, we run separate teams at Edge Home Finance. We do recruit people to our teams. So we get to see a lot of what's going on at their companies and why those things are going on. So we're going to share some of that stuff with you guys, and just we'll see where this goes. One of the most interesting things, Hunter, was something that happened to me when I was at the retail shop. We were complaining about our rates on VA IRRRLs. Now, if you're not, VA IRRRL is an interest rate reduction loan for VA buyers. So we were complaining about this, and that company would talk against brokers. Yep. Okay. You don't want to become a broker because of this, or you don't become a broker because of this. And really a bunch of things that were not true. And I didn't realize it until I came over. They can't close on time and all this stuff. I was closing in half the time it took me to close at the retail shop once I became a broker.
Absolutely. I was closing 90 days on streamline refinances, dude.
How many days?
It took 90 days for a VA IRRRL streamline refinance.
It took me 60. So it was like you're starting this month and you're beginning of the month, you're not closing till the beginning of the month, 60 days later. So when I was there, what they did was, because we were complaining about rates, they opened up a path to broker
Yeah.
to Rocket Mortgage. Okay. Now, when they open up that path to broker to Rocket Mortgage, technically, okay, we could call ourselves mortgage brokers because we were brokering to Rocket Mortgage. Okay.
Yep.
So now there became some caveats with that because when a client came in, although I could broker a loan to Rocket Mortgage, I wanted to sell them the company's line of accounting first. So I wanted to sell them the rates with the company first.
Yep.
Hunter, can you tell me why I wanted to sell them the rate with the company's line of accounting or the companies with the company first?
Well, I mean, absolutely. They keep everything in house. It's their own data. That's a huge piece. No one wants to outsource any data there. Two is it's higher rates and fees. Why would you want to send something out to somebody else that's cheaper for your team to do, but you still have the same overhead? You got to pay your overhead one way or the other. And if you're going to broker something out, you're not making the money that you are. You're basically saying, I'm going to send it out because I know I'm going to lose the deal, but I'd rather have a little bit of something than nothing.
Absolutely. So if you're at a retail shop, and the question number one is, what's a broker? Okay, because that definition has become so convoluted these days because people don't even know what a broker is anymore. I was talking to a realtor and really nothing on him because, if you're a realtor, you don't understand this stuff or may not understand this stuff. He was talking about, a relationship he had with a lender and he said, yeah, I'm a pro broker and everything. And he said, yeah, one of the lenders I use is a broker at Cross Country Mortgage.
Yeah.
And that's not true. Okay. And really, first of all, the realtor, fantastic guy. It was just that though they may call themselves anything. Okay.
Yep.
Just like, some people at some companies call themselves the vice president of lending. And I don't even know what that means.
Everybody's vice president, right?
Yeah, I'm the vice president of lending, whatever.
Yep.
But the reason for you realtors understand that if you send a person to a retail company, if that rate is 6.75 via their wholesale, via their direct line, and they can broker that business to another company. And when they broker that business to another company, they might be able to go down to 6.3 or 6.2. Yeah. They're still going to try to sell that client the 6.75 rate because the company makes more money. Okay?
And they make more money too.
And they make more money. Exactly. Yeah. If you're an originator, it's interesting. If you're an originator, you don't want to broker if you're at a retail company because if you broker, you're not going to make the money that you make if you go through the company's direct line. Okay. So, when somebody comes to us, Hunter, we're pulling up Loan Sifter. We're saying, hey, what's the rates? What's the fees associated with that rate? What's the closing time? Now, all of these things go into it. I might see a rate that's 1/8 of a point lower, but I know that company takes 60 days to close a loan. Sorry, your contract's for 30 days. That's not even an option.
Yeah, okay. And I think that's a big thing too. And actually, I think you and I actually talked about something the other day. Little myth is someone on social media had called out, hey, if you broker with United Wholesale Mortgage, you can't work with other lenders, you can't send other deals, you can't control things. That's the farthest thing I've seen from the truth at all. I was like, if you want to come sit in my office and watch me work for a day, you can happily do it because we're a broker for a reason. And I'm going to say a true broker. I am not married to one lender. In fact,
absolutely,
a very vast variety of lenders that I work with. Now, we work with I think 140 lenders, I think is what our list now. It's something absurd. But truthfully, I don't go outside of 6 or 7. And if I have to, it's a one-off scenario. But my top 6 or 7 usually have the best rates. I know we're going to close on time, probably close early. And the underwriting is not going to kill me either when I get conditions in. So, but the same thing is we're still looking over rates of 140 lenders or more. Truthfully, there's more. There's promos on there too.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the promos in lending, size matters.
Great point.
Because Edge Home Finance has 1,000 different originators. Yeah. Do you think if you're a wholesaler, are you going to incentivize people or have incentivized pricing because you want the business of that brokerage? Yes, that's common sense.
That's
that's
just you know how many platinum awards we've gotten from lenders that we work with over the last 3 weeks? I think I've seen like 8, because they're going, you guys get better pricing, you get half off the underwriting fee, you get 24-hour turn times now, you get your own staff for underwriting. It's like, why would they not want to make us happy when we're the largest account that's available, or excuse me, one of the largest accounts available out there, especially in volume?
Right. Absolutely. You're 1,000% correct. And you said something interesting the other day, Hunter. You said in retail lending, you had an analogy that you said. Can you say it one more time?
Yes. Okay. So the loan officer at the retail needs the lender. They need them for their underwriting, their processing, their rates, their support, right? That essentially that loan officer takes a deal, it passes it on. Now, there are certain situations that doesn't happen. In wholesale, the lenders need us. They need us to do loans because they may have a retail division, but they need us to build their wholesale division to bring loans in. They can't say, hey, I'm retail and I'm going to send a loan from my retail over to wholesale to do that. They're not going to do that because it costs them money. But in the wholesale side, the lenders need us. I mean, I can't tell you how many times a day I get a phone call from our lender partner saying, hey, can I price out a rate for you? I've got this product. I've got this product. It's constant because they want to earn our business, not because I need them by any means.
Right. And so this happened to me just this past week, Hunter. I'm not going into details of the file. Well, sort of. I had a file where I got it turned down. I got turned down at one lender because the trade lines, they didn't have a trade line history long enough. Okay.
Yep.
Called up, got turned down. Okay. Got rejected. Okay. Got sent to underwriting, got rejected. Not freaking out yet. I got 30-day contract. This is day one. Not freaking out yet. Send it to another lender. Hey, yeah, we got the same guidelines. Send it to a third lender. Okay. And they said, yeah, I think we can do it. What state is it in? I said, Missouri. Oh, sorry. Can't do it in Missouri. Send it to a fourth lender. Now, this was a bank statement loan, Hunter. So if you're at a retail company, okay, you likely have one outlet for brokering bank statement loans.
Yeah, it's not in-house. It's like home equity loans. They got to send it out because they can't do it internally.
Exactly. So if that one entity turns it down, you send your realtor the realtor goes scrambling. The buyer's like, oh crap, I got turned down for a bank statement loan. I can't do this. When really you just needed more options. So the fourth lender I went to said, yeah, we can do it. Send it over, just package it up, send it over. Just what I need to see. And we're fine. 20% down bank statement loan. Yeah. Nothing other than that. By the way, we also have 10% down bank statement loan options that are fantastic also. But if I was a retail lender, Hunter, I would have one outlet for that. That one outlet if that one outlet said no, I'd be totally messed over.
And that's the other biggest piece that I could probably touch on this in 2 different points. Number one is retail. The myth is retail has more control over the file than anybody else. And that is actually probably farthest from the truth. Now, I will say there are brokers out there who don't have control over their own files. That is 100% the truth. I won't say everybody does. I'll say for us personally, I have more control of that file than anybody. And I'll tell you, I'll be the first person to raise, to get something done because it matters to me. It matters to the client. So I think that's number one. But number 2 is, like you said, it's the outlet. I mean, we had a VA file currently. They were denied by 5 other lenders, including the builder lender. Couldn't do it. They called us. I think we called 40 lenders. I was like, I don't know a place. Called one. They said, we'll make that exception. This veteran, he's not a veteran. He's active duty. He's in Korea currently, closing on a home because we had a lender who would fit that guideline and say, you know what, we're willing to make that exception because he is a good client. We can look at those. But in retail, I couldn't even talk to the underwriter where I was at. I mean, realistically, unless you're in the same office, can you pick up the phone and call them? I could not. I couldn't at both places. They would not let us because they don't want things to be influenced.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that becomes the next question, one thing that realtors look for is a product mix. I mean, most of my realtor partners, Hunter, they're like, when somebody starts explaining stuff to them, I got this going on and this going on and this going on, buyer starts, it's like, whatever, just go send them to talk to Major. If Major can't figure it out, it can't be done. Okay. So just send them over there. So, but one thing I have to ask for retail lenders is like, do you really have options? Really? Do you
Yeah.
really have options? Because you open up those 2 or 3 broker lines of, oh, we can broker too. Being somebody that can broker is different than being a broker.
Yeah.
It's the difference between being, it's the difference in playing basketball and being a basketball player.
100%. Yeah.
Those are 2 different things.
Yep,
So
it is. It absolutely is.
when you start looking at these things, like, it's like, do you really have options? Are there really options? We got options and then options within the options of the options
everywhere. I mean, and I think that's the biggest piece and the largest takeaway is, I'll be straightforward. We're calling out lenders. Here we go. PRMG branch manager called me from Southeast Texas. Apparently he has like 50 different branches or something. He's like, hey, I can do this, this, and this for you. You can increase this. I was like, man, that's awesome. I'll take the phone call, but let's talk seriously. He's like, I said, 1, are you making X amount of dollars on it? And 2, I said, pricing. He goes, well, if you're so worried about pricing, I can broker deals to peer. I can use wholesale pricing. I said, why wouldn't you do that in the first place? Why would it? My thing is that's as straightforward as it can get right there. Why are you not opening up your eyes? If you can broker, why would you not? And then he was still making less money than we did on the files. And we're very transparent. I will also say, I love helping people get in homes. I'm more saying, hey, I'm just making more money than I did in retail. You're right. I am. I'm not scared to say it, but I also have more control over that file. And I'm also more incentivized to get the file done, but I can also control my pricing. I log in a lender. I don't like that rate. Cool. Let's reduce the comp a little bit. And let's go crush it.
Yeah. And that's the thing where people are like, well, you guys, the retail side doesn't understand that you can still give a much better rate to the client. And really, do my clients care how much I'm making? No, they do not. All they know is that I went to these lenders over here and they said my rate was this, but I went to talk to this guy over here and he said my rate was there. And people don't understand how we do that. The way we do that, just for transparency, is I don't have a branch manager that takes an overhead. I don't have a vice president that takes a cut. I don't have all of these people in between that are taking a piece of the pie that are driving up the rates of the retail model. I don't have that. So if I don't have that, then I can technically make more than an LO at, guaranteed rate or cross country or something like that. I can make more on that file because these people are not getting paid and taking a piece of the cut. Wow. Hunter, you and I have been offered a lot of money to go work for companies.
Yeah.
And upfront money. And it is the most ridiculous thing that they think that we don't understand. If you charge me, if you give me $250,000, $300,000 sign-on bonus to lock me in for 3 years, average person gonna say, hey, man, that's a pretty good deal. Okay.
Right. Yeah. You're talking about that.
But I also know that I'm going to have to sell crap interest rates to people in order to make up for that amount of money they gave me up front. So it really makes no sense for me to take that money. And frankly, my family, my kids, okay. I'm all right. We ain't eating ramen unless we want to. I got teenagers. They like ramen, whatever.
Right.
But the reality is we're doing okay enough to put food on the table, provide for our families at a very high level. Yeah. And is it so much that I want to go take this upfront money because I know I'm going to have crap rates in order to sell to people?
And that's the thing, Major. I think that if I had one point that I do touch on it with a lot of people, whether it's recruiting, whether it is with my clients or my realtors, whatever it is, and most of the time, to be completely straight honest with you, we don't have to recruit. It naturally sells itself. But also, I'm not talking about just with Edge. I'm talking about with the product. That is so big. Now, anybody who's watching, you could go find the lowest rate on the planet. You can go do all these things. But I will tell you, from a process standpoint, from an understanding, from a relational standpoint, you're going to get a fantastic deal and also have that level of service and trust with the loan officer. But what I want to touch on is we are in sales. Point blank. Our job is technically considered sales. But what I will say is I don't have to sell. That is the biggest thing. We don't have to sell. It projects itself in the sense of the products that you offer, the service, the rates, the lender fee. I mean, it's amazing that I don't have to sell something. Now, there are times that you sell, but it's transparency. Hey, how do you get paid? Listen, I don't have overhead. That's it. I just tell my clients, I mean, it's straightforward. You're going to see on the document what we make. You also see how much the realtor makes. I mean, let's just be straightforward here. So I don't know. That's my touch here is the selling and the transparency. We're in sales and I don't have to sell. That's big. It sells.
And I'll say that when the real interesting part is I have retail loan officers that refuse to have a conversation with me because, and here's the reason why, when I got shown what my pricing was at the retail bank, and what my pricing was if I was going to close a loan with Edge, when I got to straight up, apples to apples comparison. And I was saying that I was serving veterans, at my retail company. They had me on TV and everything. And I had commercials going and everything. I mean, I think I got a face for radio, but for some reason they wanted to put me on TV and talk about serving veterans. And I was like, wait a minute, if I'm really serving veterans, how am I giving them that rate? And I know that I could be giving them this rate at a wholesale company. And I could close them just as fast and serve them just as well. And I mean, I've got retail partners that's been with me since I was retail, and they will tell you like, oh my goodness, the major on the broker side is like night and day, different than major on the retail side. So it's really becomes interesting when you have these retail loan officers that don't even want to know. And I understand why, because if you know, you cannot unsee it.
It's a gut punch, and you get it. I mean, you feel it. I mean, I think that's the biggest piece. It's like, if you're lending is a very cyclical business. Point blank. It is. And my thing is, companies can claim family and benefit of you, and we care about you. Look at what is happening across the board. Look what's happened in the last 18 months. You're talking people who literally worked 80, 90 hours a week to push, to keep the lights on, to grow business, to do those things through the refinance boom, and then flatline. I mean, oh, hey, we're going to cut your commission. We're going to do that. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not in the point of the business or in life to be dealing with the basic drama that I don't need. If I can take stuff like that out of my business and out of my life and focus on the relationships, I mean, gratefully, look at you and I this year.
Yeah.
It's a great point. I mean, I take out all the drama of that. I mean, the most drama is who didn't get enough sleep last night with a 9-month-old baby. And I'm like, that's a good life. I mean, I'm dealing with transparency. And like you said, people won't listen because they're too scared to get the answer.
So for the realtor partners out there, okay, so understand that, okay, you really have to know when you're referring, and Hunter, some things really irritate me. I do a lot of business for realtors.
I know where you're going with it.
I do a lot of business for realtors that I don't do any other business with them except their own personal transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that you think they come to me for their own personal transaction or for their brother or their sister's transactions? Hey, Major, I know they're going to get the lowest rate with you. They're going to have a great experience. I know we got our in-house person, but I'm sending them over there to you.
I wish I had a gun. Those money guns that you hold the trigger and the money starts shooting out of it? It's because that's what they're getting gifted. I mean, I'm just being transparent with you. Like, how many times have you been called and asked, like, oh, yeah, I'll partner with you, but are you willing to pay $1,500 a month for Zillow leads? Or That's all I'm going to say. So there's so much more to life than money. I mean, the relationships will skyrocket your business tenfold for what you could get just paying for something. Now,
absolutely,
there's a difference between supporting each other
Yes.
In paying money or gifting money, or you can use my office anytime you want, or I have an event center. I'm calling people out, but I'm just being straightforward. I mean, and people are like, I can guarantee you a comment would be like, well, it's jealousy. It's like, no, it's not. It's transparency. Look, if you take the next loan estimate or closing disclosure from that retail lender and I will price it out at the exact same time they did, it'll be different.
Absolutely.
100 times.
And I can take out the processing fees and the underwriting fees, the $1,600, $2,000 in fees. It's a totally different. And you might say, well, it's just a processing fee. Everybody charges that. That's not true.
I know. I never.
That's not true. Everybody's doing that. All the retail companies are doing it. I agree with you. Yep. It's a different ball game. So I don't know. I feel like this was a conversation among friends for 25 minutes.
It's always good catching up with you, man. And here's the thing: to any agent, to any loan officer, to any client, transparently, if you have questions on it, I would just encourage you to ask, because there is a big point in being able to truly care about that client and where it's going and what you're getting in return.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I'll say.
Absolutely. If you want the best for your client, you probably should tell them to talk to a broker.
Yep.
And this is not, and at this point, I'm like, it's not an edge thing. I mean, there are many great broker companies out there. Okay. Hunter, you and I have good friends at U Mortgage, E-Mortgage Capital. We have great friends at a lot of different brokerages because we do a lot of different things with the broker community. But I'm like, at some point, we have to get real about what it means to actually take care of people. And if you're a loan officer, I mean, listen, at some point you got to get real. I mean, if you think, hey, we're, you don't understand here, we're like family. Okay. The company I left, we were like family, but not like family more than my family.
My team is closer than I ever was in retail lending for 4 years.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would go to bat for any one of the guys or gals on my team. Point blank.
Absolutely. I call up my team. When I call up, I'll call up one of my processors and I'll say, hey, call your sister. We need to talk.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, do you get to ever fly? Here's what I'm going to say. One thing. There's one retail lender out there also has wholesale. I'm going to call them out. I love them. But Penny Mac. Okay. Have you ever flown, if you're a retail officer with them, have they ever flown you out there?
No.
So I'm going to say, because we went. It was beautiful.
Flew us out there. Go to Calabasas. Beautiful.
Gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. And they want to earn our business.
They flew us out there to earn our business.
That's a perfect business. And they're not the only one who does it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So,
Hunter, hey, love you, man. Go take care of your wonderful wife. I'm gonna go take about 10 minutes here and recoup with my wife and everything. And let's get back at it, man. Let's get it back out there to helping people and spreading the word about the broker side, the broker community, and what we really actually offer to realtors and to families.
Love it, brother. Hey, good to see you, man. We'll get lunch here soon.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.